L'Oreal, Clorox, Estee Lauder, Maybelline, Johnson & Johnson. Do any of these familiar names ring a bell to any of you? Well, these are some of the big name brands that still use animals as their test subjects before they approve their products to the market. And the sad truth is, they are just the few brands that are actually vocal about their animal testing and honest about it. Animal testing has been a controversial topic for many decades now, and from inhumane torture to inaccurate results, it's time for our society to stop turning a blind eye to these consequences and instead put an end to them. As someone who has held love for animals since a very young age, and I even stopped eating meat about 7 years ago, I'm often appalled by the horrific day-to-day treatment that animals seem to receive. And after properly educating myself on the true matters of what goes on in an actual animal testing lab, I believe it is my duty to also educate my peers on the very things that I have learned. This has become a worldwide issue with damaging effects to both parties, animals and ourselves. These damaging studies, all done just to endorse the newest brand of mascara, come at the price of our ethics and our humanity. If you could all imagine with me for a moment, the only world you have ever known is a sterile cage we're crammed into since birth. Every day is nothing but experimental torture. Stomach pumped full of chemicals, eyes blind from the treatment stripped into them, watching scientists insert various needles into you, knowing that there is no way you can possibly defend yourself. No chance of survival, let alone ever seeing the sun in your life. According to the Humane Society International, this is the horrific day-to-day reality for more than 115 million animals worldwide per year. Most of these studies are done just to examine how the chemicals in the products that we purchase, whether it be from a new pharmaceutical drug to the newest skincare line, will affect consumers upon purchase. But these studies cause physical and psychological damage to these animals that is irreversible, leading to more often than not suffering and death. These animals trapped in small cages and windowless rooms where they should be out in nature roaming wild and free leaves them with only feelings of fear, distress, boredom, and frustration. Toxicity tests have also become a common test in the animal testing world, and one example is the Drazy test, where toxins are placed into animals' eyes until they go blind from the treatments to see how they react. Another test along with the Drazy test is known as the LD50. This toxicity test basically consists of researchers strapping down their animal test subjects and continuously pumping chemicals directly into their stomachs. As the World Animal Foundation states, these chemicals are administered until they die, which can take days or weeks, suffering from internal bleeding, diarrhea, vomiting, convulsions, and horrendous pain. Death becomes a relief. One of the saddest aspects of all this animal testing is that all of this inhumane treatment, all of these horrible practices can lead to nothing, wasting money, time, resources, and actual lives. This speaks of a disservice to humans as well, as we are wasting multitudes that could be spent on human-based research, but instead we are wasting them on these animals. Animal experiments are seen as so worthless that up to half of them are never even published. In a study done by Aisha Akhtar on the true harms of animal experimentation, she examined that in 2004, the FDA estimated that 92% of drugs that passed preclinical tests, including animal pivotal tests, failed to proceed off the market. And with more recent findings, this number has grown to a shocking 96%. These countless tests on countless innocent animals have resulted in more lost lives and successful discoveries. And with every failed study, there's a life taken in vain, so full of unwanted suffering and pain, all to be wasted. So I ask, why must we test on animals? Well, if I asked any of you to name about 5 similarities between yourself and the very lab rats that we test on, I doubt you can name more than a few. At least I know myself could not. So now I'm wondering, how are we putting our full faith into these experiments on these animals that no matter how biologically similar we are to, will never be the exact same? These animal studies are flawed by design, and their results cause irreversible damages to animals and humans, because the bodily systems of animals, no matter how biologically similar, will never be the exact same species. I'm sure many of you know and love the common painkiller aspirin. I myself use it on a semi-daily basis, along with many humans worldwide. Well, this common painkiller, which seems to help humans alleviate their pain, was found to be severely toxic and deadly to the very lab rats that we test on. A few years ago, Big Pharma released a new pharmaceutical drug called Vioxx. Vioxx would hope to help arthritis patients be relieved of their pain and their symptoms. And after lab monkeys and 5 other species show promising results on paper, the labs decided to push this product forward. Well, 320,000 heart attack and stroke victims later proved that not only did the animals who died in vain being studied on suffer, but the humans who believed these results. 140,000 people who just hoped to treat their arthritis died from Vioxx. Animal testing, regardless of the test subject, fails to reliably inform on human health due to effects in the lab environment, disparities between animal versus human diseases, as well as differences psychologically and genetically between humans and animals. As the National Institute of Health states, 95% of drugs that were tested with safe results were deemed ineffective and unsafe in human trials. Sometimes math and science just don't work, and when it comes to playing with human and animal lives, why must we waste so many resources for studies with such bleak results? All of these studies showing inhumane treatment and inaccurate results means that we must search for a new way to get more accurate results in humane ways worldwide. So when asked how these new studies will be performed without animal test subjects, I wonder what you must think of. Is it a human strapped down to a table, subject to the same inhumane tortures as the animal before them? Well, if this is a fear of yours, I hope you know that it is a false fear, and there is a reality where no live subjects could ever be harmed while testing. Replacing these animals does not mean that we will be putting human patients at risk, nor does it mean halting important medical research. Rather, these replacements will not only improve our research results, but also the quality and ethics. As writer Grace Hussein said, a key part of ending animal testing is making sure friends and family are aware of the issue. This is the first step in breaking this chain of unethical behavior by having hard conversations with those around us and educating others on the very things you have learned today. By having these hard conversations with the people we know about the big brands that we love, we can give up our lipstick to save a life. Many organizations such as PETA or the Leaping Bunny make finding these cruelty-free products the easiest it can already be. The only extra step you need to add to your shopping routine is flipping your product and looking for a little bunny logo on the back. This little bunny logo deems it cruelty-free, but simply buying with this little bunny logo is not enough. We as the consumers hold the power in the market over these big brands and industries who put profit over ethics. And by taking away this power, we can force brands to change their ethics and create a more humane society overall. Science has also drastically progressed over the past few decades, with a new innovation called cell cultures coming into play. Cruelty Free International describes these cell cultures as almost every type of human and animal cell that can be grown in a laboratory. Cell cultures have been central to key developments in areas such as kidney disease, sepsis, AIDS, and cancer. By researching and supporting these new methods, we are not only discovering new safe ways of testing the products that we use, but ones with more accurate results. If you recall the Drazy test I mentioned earlier, where toxins were dripped into animals' eyes, well, this test only had a 60% accuracy rate when used on live rabbits. But when tested with reconstituted human skin that comes at the harm of no one, it jumped to a shocking 86%. That is 26% more accuracy rate when using reconstituted human skin instead of live animals. By supporting these alternatives and the great minds that think of them, we can promote more ethical and sustainable scientific research that will promote ethical practices in our society. This will benefit both animals and humans worldwide. In conclusion, animal testing is excessively wasteful around money, time, resources, and actual lives. Testing has become a vile practice worldwide, and we must push ourselves and those around us to stand up for these animals that have no choice but to lead their life in a lab. To be born into this world on a concrete floor with no choice but to lead your life with no freedom is worse than being dead. Animal activists and everyday people believe that humans can be the voice for the animals who have none. And if we are truly the only voice that will ever be heard in this world, it is time for us to speak up about what is right and what you learned today. We must end animal testing worldwide. Thank you for listening. Oh.